Hello, Assalamualaikum. Saya Hakim Parker dan sepatutnya ada Haris Azman. Dan selamat datang ke Borak Space. Today is a solo episode. The main reason we're a solo episode was because kita patutnya ada guest datang hari Khamis. Guest tu dah lah offer diri dia, tapi guest tu cancel last minute. And guest ni dah cancel last minute banyak kali jugalah. So kita orang tak dapat nak cari anyone untuk ganti. So me and Harik pun jadual pun dah konflik. So because of that, kita orang terpaksa I terpaksa buat another solo podcast lah. And for today's solo podcast, we're going to talk about my journey in therapy, which I think will be very exciting, very fun. Sebab I'm pretty sure most of you tak pernah pergi lagi therapy ataupun tak tahu how therapy is and etc. So I thought, it'd be fun to talk about. Oh, by the way, to the people listening, you might realize there's a link down below, and that link is for our merchandise. Our merchandise dah hit dah. We did it on Sunday at 8 p.m, which is 12th of January. So to those of you who haven't bought the merch or who haven't bought the hat yet, please do. And just make me busy. Make me busy in a sense where I have to pack all of that and do everything, etc. So please do. Okay? All right? So we are going to talk about therapy. So let's start off with why I wanted to go to therapy. And there were a lot of reasons that I wanted to go to therapy, but one of it was this feeling yang macam aku rasa kalau aku pergi terapi, aku dapat kenali diri aku lebih. Aku dapat tahu lebih tentang diri aku. Of kenapa aku buat macam ni, kenapa aku tak buat macam ni, bla bla apa semua tu. So aku memang minat dengan this whole process of mengenali diri ni. And so because of that, aku fikir macam okay, one day aku nak pergi terapi. Tapi obviously lah terapi macam kita pernah borak dalam episod dengan Mira Haz kan, terapi tu bukanlah murah. Okay, dalam kepala otak aku fikir aku akan spend dalam, at that time, this was like 3 years ago, at that time aku fikir macam terapi akan cost aku dalam RM1,000 macam tu apa semua tu. Tapi tak, dia cost dalam 200 saja kalau aku pergi ke private punya therapist. And ada yang sampai 150, ada yang 100 saja. And kalau pergi government punya lagi murah. So actually there's a lot of like options lah kat luar sana kan. Cuma aku tak tahu. Sebab yelah time tu just berniat je nak pergi terapi, tak pernah terfikir nak buat betul-betul. So aku pun dah terpasang niat tu, tapi tak pernah nak buat apa-apa about it lah. And sorry sementara aku tengah cakap ni, boleh aku do something with my hands lah. Aku rasa macam nak melukis. Sebab aku rasa kalau aku borak saja tu, aku dah boleh naik gila ni. Sebab aku kena borak sorang-sorang ni for like around 40 minutes or so. And aku tengah borak sorang-sorang. So aku fikir aku nak melukis sikit so kita just chill and mendengar saja. So sesiapa yang tengah chill tengah buat something, terlanggar mic. So kita just chill and mendengar je lah. Alright, so and then one day when I was in when I was talking to one of my friends, I realized that I suddenly got like really angry, and I was frustrated on why I got angry. Like I didn't understand why I got angry, because inside my head like macam benda macam ni patutnya normal, and aku dah start believe yang aku dah start acting abnormal. Macam aku cepat insecure at the time, ataupun macam aku selalu rasa, bukan tak puas hati tapi anxious aku selalu rasa anxious, and I never knew why. Tapi dia persistent gila. I mean now after therapy, aku figure out lah that maybe macam all of that was because I was triggered. Tapi triggered sebab apa? What was the cause? What was going on and everything, stuff like that. Those are the things that I haven't figured out. Because yelah, kita at some point macam kita fikir kita kenali diri kita, macam kita tahu diri kita boleh buat apa and everything semua tu. Tapi sebenarnya tak. Sebenarnya tak. Bila kita cakap dengan diri kita, senanglah kita macam nak convince diri kita kan. Yelah aku maybe macam ni sebab macam ni lah. Tapi bila kita borak dengan professional, barulah kita nampak yang sebenarnya ada banyak benda yang patut dipertimbangkan and banyak benda yang tak patut dipertimbangkan. So benda macam tu lah, knowledge macam tu lah yang penting, dan knowledge macam tu lah apa yang kau dapat bila kau pergi terapi. So aku rasa macam I was not behaving quote unquote normal. And because I wasn't behaving normal, aku fikir macam, you know what, I want to do something about it. Aku nak pergi terapi. And I remember like I was crying that time. Aku ingat lagi, I was crying that time. Maybe sebab aku rasa bersalah, ataupun maybe sebab aku kena gaslight at the time dengan kawan aku. Sebab aku, it made me feel like shit. Spoiler alert, I'm no longer friends with this person. Tapi macam at that time aku rasa macam that person was trying to do something nice for me. Tapi bila fikir balik macam tak dia mamat tu melampau, and aku biar je dia gaslight aku kan. So because after that aku pergi terapi, aku book my session. Aku ingat lagi, aku call mak aku and aku minta mak aku tolong bookkan aku therapy session. So here's the thing, right? Kadang-kadang bila kita nak pergi terapi tu, aku faham lah kita tak ada duit kita sendiri. Aku at that time tu memang tak ada duit yang banyak lah. And aku tak tahu how much it was gonna cost. So aku fikir dalam otak aku, aku fikir macam dia akan cost 1,000 lebih. Mana aku ada 1,000 lebih kan. Tapi tak, it was 200 je. So then aku obviously minta tolong mak aku lah kan, kalau dia boleh recommend any therapist ke apa semua tu. And the reason I said that was because like here's something about my mom tau. My mom, dia pun tak percaya sangat about this whole therapy thing and everything and stuff like that. I mean, it's not her fault. Bukan nak kata dia ignorant ke apa. Cuma time tu generation dia tak biasa dengan benda-benda macam ni. So aku sebenarnya takut juga nak cakap dengan mak aku ni, aku nak pergi terapi apa semua tu. Sebab obviously dalam kepala otak aku, mak aku akan dismiss benda tu. Kata macam, tak payahlah ni apa semua, aku jaga solat je lah, bla bla bla. So aku cuba. And aku rasa ni bukan kali pertama aku cuba. Ni kali ke-3 ke kali ke-4 ke kali ke-6 aku cuba, something like that kan. So time aku cuba tu, surprisingly mak aku dah okay dengan the idea of therapy. And I would have to thank my cousin for that, ataupun my auntie. Sebab my auntie ni walaupun she's a little bit on the liberal side, dia very bukan advocate, dia very bukan outspoken, dia senang sembang lah, okay? Dia senang borak, and dia suka borak pasal benda-benda yang personal. Tak kisahlah benda tu macam dalam mata orang lain memalukan ke apa, tak. Kalau dia rasa benda tu patut diborak, patut dicakap, dia akan borak and dia akan cakap pasal benda tu. So dia ceritalah pasal cousin aku yang pergi ke terapi. And because of that, mak aku dapat exposure to therapy and dapat exposure to what therapy does. And so auntie aku pun, mak aku pun message auntie aku, and then auntie aku recommend therapist yang cousin aku pergi. So therapist aku, dia kat hospital KPJ Damansara. Nama therapist aku was Dr. Kasmini. She's an old lady. Dia tak banyak ambil patient sebab dia dah tua dah. Dia nak bersara dah. So aku pun macam, ya ke? So aku punya chances actually nak dapat session dengan dia susah. And actually to book that session pun banyak kali tergagal. Sebab aku salah timing lah, salah faham what day nak book lah, and kena datang pagi lah. Aku ni dah lah tidur pukul berapa that time. So macam bangun pagi tu susah gila. Aku ingat lagi, it was such a ruckus and sangatlah menyusahkan dalam kepala otak aku at that time. And then bila aku dah rasa okay sikit, aku dah macam tak payah pergi lah terapi apa semua tu. So it took a total process of like 3 to 4 months just to get a proper date. Korang punya mungkin lagi senang daripada aku. Aku sebenarnya yang tengah menyusahkan diri aku lah. So akhirnya dapat pergi terapi. And then bila time pergi tu, memang kebetulan that time aku memang ada masalah. So aku datang duduk dengan Dr. Kasmini. By the time aku sampai terapi, okay, mungkin sebab aku dah banyak sangat tengok video ataupun aku dengar banyak cerita kawan-kawan aku yang pergi terapi apa semua tu, aku tahu for me to get a little bit better, aku kena acknowledge yang ada masalah. And tak cukup saja untuk aku acknowledge aku ada masalah, aku kena cuba memperbaiki masalah tu. Aku kena bersedia untuk bercakap. Tak ada makna aku pergi terapi tapi aku tak nak bercakap. So aku take the initiative untuk bercakap. Tapi aku nak kena beritahu korang juga that even if kau ada inisiatif untuk bercakap, there is a chance that therapist korang dan korang tak gel, macam tak ngam. Rasa macam something is off. And benda tu happens, okay? Dia sama macam, bukan nak kata cari jodoh tu lagi susah. Tapi cari therapist ni macam nak cari suar jeans yang betul. Okay? Ada yang muat, ada yang ketat sikit, ada yang terlalu longgar. Nak cari suar jeans yang ngam, it takes time. Kau kena try. So aku at that time, Alhamdulillah, time aku first pergi jumpa Dr. Kasmini, sangatlah ngam. She was a very kind old woman, and dia buat aku rasa selesa sangat borak dengan dia. And one of the best things bila aku borak dengan Dr. Kasmini is that dia very motherly tau. She has that very motherly touch, and aku rasa senang borak dengan dia. And not just the fact that dia ada motherly touch tu, it's also the fact that dia, how do I say this, she was very positive throughout anything I say. She sounds very positive, and it really sounds like she was really listening to me. You know, macam setengah most of the times bila kau borak dengan kawan korang, and then kawan-korang macam yeah, tapi ni, and then kau rasa macam, aduh, kau ni tak faham lagi ke? Aku cuba cakap ni tapi kau tak faham lagi ke? Macam dia tak dengar apa kau nak cuba sampaikan tau. Tapi dengan Dr. Kasmini ni, Alhamdulillah, bila dia tak faham something, dia tanya, dia tak terus jump to any conclusions, and dia betul membuat aku rasa macam dia cuba nak faham aku, and dia cuba nak dengar apa aku nak cakap. So dia tanya aku, okay, alright, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Itu kita punya first sit down. And aku time tu cakap lah, okay, well, my name is Hakim. I am 20, how old was I? I was 25. I'm 25 this year. Yeah. And then lepas tu Dr. Gasmini tanya lah, so why did you come for therapy kan? So then aku cakap kat dia macam, I don't know, I've always been interested to go to therapy, but at the same time I don't know who I am, and I kind of want to figure out who I am. And then Dr. Kasmini macam pelik sikit, macam, what do you mean you don't know who you are? Well, there are things sometimes that I rasa macam I act upon insecurity, and I feel like I act upon that like a lot. And I feel like all my decisions or all the things that I do are based on how insecure I am as a person. And then Dr. Kasmini tanya macam, why do you feel that way? And then aku cakap kat dia yang, I don't know why. I don't know if this helps or not ke apa semua tu. But whenever I think about my insecurity, or whenever I think that I'm not good enough, I remember when I had a fight with this one family member. This family member was quite important. I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but I said it, in the therapy session. And this family member told me that my birth was a nuisance. And if they knew I was going to be such a nuisance, they would have decided to just let me go. And I heard that when I was around 9 years old. And because of that, I started to doubt my existence, as if I'm not important, or as if I was a mistake. And I remember also, again, when I was 9 years old, there was this one day I didn't come to school. And I was a very naughty boy, doctor. And I know I buat banyak bising. I know I banyak buat kacau in the class ke apa semua tu. But the teachers couldn't say much about me sebab my grades were okay. My grades were really good. But I was still very nakal lah. There was this one day I didn't come to school because I was demam. And I remember there was this one annoying girl that stood in front of the corridor of the class. As I was walking up the stairs, I caught a glimpse of her. She looked at me and then she said, Hakim, kau tahu tak, semalam bila kau tak ada, kelas diam gila kot. And I macam, okay, alright, so. And then out of nowhere she said macam, best doh semalam kau tak ada, baik kau tak payah wujud. And then hearing that twice in the same year, and I know to some people it'll be like macam, what the fuck, bapa kau dengar benda ni 2 kali dalam hidup kau. Tapi yes, I did. And hearing that thing at such a young age, it made me feel like I was a nuisance, or I was a burden and a problem. And it didn't help also because as I was growing up, I realized that I was not the most popular kid in school ke ataupun in my class ke. And whenever I wanna talk to people ke apa semua tu, they would like be very selective lah of their friends. Like they wouldn't choose me. And I say they wouldn't choose me as well because like if any of the kids held a birthday party ke apa semua tu, I wouldn't be invited. And I remember there was this one time my classmate made a birthday party and she invited everyone in the class, but she didn't invite me. And I thought that it was a joke, like there was not a birthday party pun, tak ada pun birthday party pun, dorang saja je nak sakit hati aku. And then after that, aku tahu nombor phone rumah budak tu. And then aku on the day of the birthday party tu, aku pergi ke phone rumah. And then aku call rumah tu sebab aku nak dengar betul ke ada birthday party. And then tengok memang ada. And aku memang was not invited lah. And aku tak cakap apa-apa pun, walaupun ada auntie tu on the phone, dia macam hello, siapa ni? Aku tak cakap apa-apa pun. And aku just terus letak phone. Aku naik atas bilik aku nangis. And I remember telling that to my doctor. And ever since that day, bila ada someone macam avoid aku ataupun tak nak cakap dengan aku ataupun biarkan aku selalu relate balik dengan apa family member dan apa kawan aku cakap, where mungkin aku ni tak penting and aku ni tak patut dilahirkan. Sebab kalau untuk birthday party pun tak nak aku, apa lagi kan. Kalau family member aku sendiri pernah cakap aku tak patut hidup, then apa yang budak-budak ni buat ni betul lah. Dorang tengah reaffirm apa yang aku ada dalam otak aku, kepercayaan yang aku ada dalam otak aku. And it was not easy lah hearing that, or like growing up with that. So sepanjang aku 13, 14, 15 sampailah aku 25, every time aku ada gaduh ke ataupun bila ada orang, bila ada apa-apa masalah je lah, aku always reaffirm that thought yang aku tak patut ada kat dunia ni. Aku tak patut ada kat dunia ni. Aku tak patut ada kat dunia ni. Oh, ni lah sebab apa ni? Ni lah sebab this person is not talking to me because aku tak patut ada, or because aku tak ada value and everything, stuff like that. So macam external life crisis sikit lah. External life crisis sikit. Internal life crisis lah, I would say. So, and then after that, aku pun macam, asal kamera ni tak fokus ya? Ke sebab, there we go. Okay, so, and then after that, aku pun macam, okay, go on with my life ke apa semua tu. And then one day, aku ada gaduh dengan my friend. And then bila tengah gaduh tu and everything semua tu, aku nampak kawan aku tengah pull back. Dia macam tak nak layan aku sangat, tak nak acknowledge aku sangat and everything semua tu. And aku sakit hati lah sebab aku still believe yang aku tak patut wujud, ataupun I have that fear yang aku tak patut wujud. So because of that fight, aku sedar like this is not normal. And that's when I thought like macam, you know what, I need therapy. So that's what I told my doctor lah. And then my doctor macam, oh no, did you ever like confront this person about like, you know, how you feel ke apa semua tu? And I said to her, tak, I didn't want to, because it's hard. I know this person is just gonna deny or even act like they don't remember it. And then my doctor macam, oh, tak boleh lah macam tu, you have to say something. And then macam, I'm not ready yet. Okay, alright. So then after that, I explained to her, because during that time I was also in a relationship, and I explained to her lah, like macam I'm also having like sometimes I'm having like fights with my girlfriend, and I feel like these fights are happening because of my unresolved issues, and I want to resolve them. I don't want to fight with her anymore. And she asked me like I don't know why, but she asked me like why. And I feel like that's such a normal, I feel like everyone has like an answer lah kan, like macam who wants to fight kan with their partner ke apa semua tu. And then ditanya lah like macam, are the fights constant? That's when like it got me lah, like macam yes, the fights are constant, and I feel like they're always about the same thing. And I feel like it's because I haven't had this part of me resolved, and that's why we're fighting. And if I fix myself, and if I change myself, then we would no longer be fighting. I would be able to adapt to her style, and she wouldn't have to, you know, like macam, and then I wouldn't have to like face the fear of me thinking that I'm not good enough for her ke, or stuff like something like that lah. Tak ingat, it was 3 years ago, so I'm remembering as much as I can. Okay. So yeah, and then like she told me that something like that, and then she told me that, you know, I should talk about it. And then I talked about my relationship and how it is, and I told the doctor like macam, I'm aware of attachment styles. I was 3 years ago, I was a anxious attachment style person, and my ex was an avoidant attachment style person, and because of that, I'm aware of the conflicts that could happen lah kan. So as we were discussing it and everything semua tu, I tahu-tahu tertengok dah 1 jam. Tapi sedar macam dalam 1 jam tu dia tak bagi input anything at all pun. And ada masa rasa macam, was I doing therapy betul-betul ke tak ni kan? Like macam, bukan patutnya like macam ada a big life lesson here somewhere ke apa semua tu. Something that she would say that would ultimately change me, change who I am ke apa semua tu. Tapi tak, not on the first one. For me, not on the first one. And then the therapist said macam, okay, alright, I want to see you again, but I would say you are not chronic. Hearing the words that you are not chronic is like an insult and also a compliment at the same time, okay? It's an insult because I thought I was chronic. I thought like macam, cerita hidup aku tak sedih ke untuk kau? But it was also a compliment, meaning that macam I could still take care of myself well lah. Alright, it depends on how you look at it. So she said I wasn't that chronic, and because I wasn't that chronic, like I could come next month. So that's what I did lah. I booked another session for next month. And then next month came and everything semua tu, and I brought my journal and I told her like what was inside my journal and everything semua tu. And then kalau ada ke? I have a journal back there, tapi that's my gratitude journal. It's a little bit different. Tapi memang I ada this one journal that I would write down every time I feel bad ataupun every time I feel sad or every time I feel like shit. And it's always filled with the most disgusting thoughts, like the most painful thoughts ever. And when I read it to her, she started to see a pattern where I am reaffirming that belief I had. It might not even be true, but because I am reaffirming it, I'm making it to be true. I've put a belief inside of my own head and in my heart, and it has been very hard to throw away that belief. And that became a big problem lah. That became a big problem. So because of that, the next few therapy sessions, she asked me to share my thoughts, and then she asked me to do a few exercises. Not like macam exercises where aku bangun pagi 100 jumping jacks ke apa semua tu, no. Exercises in a sense where macam, okay, when you get back home, this is what I want you to do. And she told me to do or to have like a gratitude journal and everything and stuff like that lah. So I started having the gratitude journal. So gratitude journal ni basically aku write down apa yang aku thankful about, apa yang aku bersyukur about, you know, like macam aku bersyukur pasal aku dapat duit belanja lebih ke, aku bersyukur aku dapat jumpa girlfriend aku ke at the time, aku bersyukur sebab aku menang dalam game ke apa semua tu, anything. Dia kata tulis anything je, write down anything je, anything you rasa happy about, don't think about it, just tulis saja. So after that pun aku pun start lah this habit kan, macam okay, alright, ada orang tolong buka pintu untuk aku, bersyukur. Ada orang tolong isikan minyak aku kat petrol pump, happy. Kawan aku belanja teh ais, tulis. Aku dapat RM10 extra daripada jual kad, tulis and everything semua tu. So semua benda aku tulis. Sampailah bulan keempat, aku datang jumpa dia and aku tunjuk dia like macam, oh, so this is my research. I had a book where aku cari everything I can about aku punya anxious attachment style. Aku print it out and aku tampal kat buku tu and aku tulis nota and everything semua, belajar as much as I can about it. And then after that, aku tunjuk buku tu kat dia and aku tunjuk dia aku punya gratitude journal. And then bila aku tunjuk aku punya gratitude journal aku kat dia, dia tengok aku and then dia kata macam, okay, I think this is the last time for you to come here. And aku terkejut gila. Sebab kebanyakan member aku yang pergi ke terapi, diorang pergi berulang-ulang kali. Aku kena stop and aku terkejut gila. Aku remember aku call girlfriend aku at the time. Aku cakap macam, you, kenapa dia suruh I stop datang? And then dia macam, bagus lah tu, that means you don't have to go anymore ke apa semua. And then macam, tak, tapi I don't know if I can take care of myself and everything, stuff like that. Tapi the therapist dah cakap dah, like macam, she trusts me that I now have developed the right habits or the right thinking patterns to avoid myself from any danger or any harm. And I thought, and I remember lah, I think, I'm not sure if it was my ex-girlfriend who told me this ataupun I told this to myself, where I kata macam, you know what, I've always trusted what my therapist had told me or any advice my therapist had told me. So if my therapist say I can walk on my own 2 feet, I choose to trust her. Because, kalau dia nak duit aku, dia boleh je suruh aku datang any single time kan. Tapi dia kata tak nak awak dah elok. So I was very surprised. And not gonna lie, I was also very proud of myself. Because I was able to overcome my problems, or I dare to overcome most of my problems. Tapi there's also a part of me, okay, yang aku takut, is that aku takut that sepanjang that therapy session apa semua tu, aku mungkin tertipu. And aku bagi dia percaya yang aku sebenarnya okay. Itu satu fear aku juga at that time. Aku ingat balik sekarang. So aku takut macam aku tertipu, and aku takut nanti later along the line aku perlukan dia tapi dia suruh aku stop datang. And then bila aku datang ni malu apa semua tu, banyak lah. I was on the right path to starting thinking clearly and everything semua tu, tapi I wasn't there yet, so still baru. Okay. So aku ingat time tu. And then aku rasa kalau most of you pernah dengar Borak Space episode 6, kalau korang dengar episode 6, datang satu tragedy atas aku. Siapa tak dengar lagi, dengar je lah. Okay. And then bila datang ataupun jatuhnya tragedy tu, aku pergi jumpa therapist aku one more time. And then aku explain everything kat dia and everything semua tu, blah blah blah. And then therapist aku ingat dia cakap something really sweet. Aku tak ingat macam mana how we got into this conversation. Tapi dia cakap aku macam apa ni, I am so sorry I have no more single daughters. And aku macam, what do you mean? And dia kata kat aku macam, you're such a nice, caring person, and you have such lovely qualities, and I wish my daughters would date someone like you. And then bila aku dengar that from my own therapist, it was so heartwarming. It was so nice to hear that I was accepted, or to hear that somebody wants me. Sebab aku pernah ada this one relationship where dia tak menjadi apa sebab mak dia tak suka aku. And aku rasa macam, aku bengang lah. Aku rasa macam aku tak cukup and everything, stuff like that, blah blah blah. So bila aku dengar my therapist cakap yang kalau dia ada single daughter, dia akan campak aje kat aku macam sorry, hampir sebab aku rasa accepted, and I felt so welcomed, and aku rasa macam she wasn't lying lah. And I really, really, really appreciated her lah for that. That healed a very deep wound inside of my heart. And I really appreciate you for saying that to me, Dr. Kasmini. Love you so much for that. But yeah, and that was like the last time I went to therapy. I haven't seen her in a year already. I'm not sure if she's still practicing, but a part of me just want to go there again and then just tell her that I'm doing okay now, and I wanna thank you for it. And there were so many advices that you gave me that made me change my entire perspective on life. Dr. Kasmini was the person that told me that it's okay to be alone. Because I remember the last time I went to see her, I cakap kat dia macam, I'm so alone right now. My girlfriend left me. My friends are all busy and everything, stuff like that. I have no friends right now to do anything with me. And the doctor said to me macam, bagus, it's good that you're alone. And I macam, wait, what? And then she said, when you're with too many people, sometimes you don't know which one or what thoughts are your own thoughts or what's most important to you, because you dengar cakap orang je. Tapi for the first time in your life, you sorang-sorang, you dah dewasa, and you boleh pilih apa yang penting untuk you. Selagi you tak buat benda yang bukan-bukan, buat benda yang tak melanggar undang-undang, buat je. Jumpa balik diri you melalui your own way. And not gonna lie lah, I've always used that advice every time I'm alone. Every time aku rasa macam benda tengah rimas ke apa semua tu, Dr. Kasmini taught me how to think positively on the matter. And I think that's the most important thing about going to therapy. Most orang tak sedar that bila kau pergi therapy ni, kau sebenarnya macam pergi kelas, and kelas ni diajar oleh seorang doktor yang ada PhD, and doktor ni ajar kat kau specifically macam mana kau nak hadap dunia. Dia bukan untuk buang semua masalah kau apa semua tu, tak. Sebab apa pun masalah kau buang, ada je masalah baru datang balik. Dia just ajar kau macam mana kau nak hadap masalah ni supaya kau boleh hadap masalah-masalah yang akan datang. Setengah orang boleh buat tu secara naturally. Okay? Tapi adakah cara dia buat tu betul atau tidak? Dia tak hanya bergantung kepada result. Kadang-kadang macam ada orang just ignore je problem dia. Tapi tak bermakna dia ignore problem dia, itu benda paling healthy. Just because luaran dia nampak okay, tak bermakna itu paling healthy. Ada setengah orang macam terlalu fikir pasal masalah dia sampai benda tu settle. And then datang Dr. Kasmini, datang cakap dengan aku and ajar aku how to properly think my thoughts, properly fight for what's important for me and everything, etc. and stuff like that. And aku bersyukur sangat lah dengan Dr. Kasmini. I'm not sure if she's still practicing or not. Okay, I think I already explained that. Tapi I'm saying this because aku tak nak korang, some of you guys terlalu direct. Aku cakap je pasal Dr. Kasmini, nanti first thing korang buat, kau pergi Google dia, dan kau nak terapis yang sama juga. Ada banyak lagi terapis, jangan risau. Jangan risau, ada banyak lagi. Aku nak cerita kat korang the effects of therapy for me. And aku bangga sangat aku pergi terapi. Aku bangga sangat aku dapat convince mak aku. And aku akan sentiasa beritahu orang untuk pergi ke terapi. Tak kisahlah how scary it is ke apa semua tu. That scary part tu only for a while. At one point tu, kau akan rasa suka pergi terapi. Sebab kau finally dapat cakap dengan someone yang nak dengar apa dalam hati kau, yang nak faham mana, where you were coming from, and someone yang nak tengok kau berjaya and overcome your problems. So yeah, give therapy a try tu guys. I'm so sorry kalau episod ni tak lama sangat. Okay, kita nak masuk 40 minit dah. Tapi that's all I could say actually about therapy. I wish I could have a more nicer conversation with someone yang pernah pergi therapy, because I think it would be really cool. And we can find someone like that eventually, apa semua tu. But till then, till then, we'll see what we can improve on Borat Space and the podcast as a whole. So, this is where I say goodbye because as I'm recording this, it is 1 a.m. and I have to get ready for tomorrow because tomorrow is also going to be a very busy day. But I just want to say thank you for everyone listening to this podcast. Thank you to everyone who came down to support Borat Space. It has been 2 years. It has been 2 years. And I'm very happy about how far we've come. And I just want to say, the best way to support our podcast is through buying our merchandise. When you buy our merchandise, it gives us the motivation to keep on going, and ongoing. So please, if it's within your means, go buy the merchandise. If it's not within your means, it's okay. You can just like and subscribe and just have a conversation about it with your friends. That means a lot to us too. Okay, so just support us however way you can. But money is good. I'm kidding. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next Monday. Okay, and I hope we have more interesting conversations. Take care. Bye. Stay healthy. Ciao. Tak ada muah. Alhamdulillah tak ada muah episode ni.